Another breaking headline from Capitol Hill on the House side. Embattled Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson says he is going to hold a vote on a series of foreign aid bills on Saturday, and he's planning to tie them together.
It is the very thing Democrats have asked for and exactly what the far-right members of his own party have threatened to oust him over. CNN anchor and chief congressional correspondent Manu Raju is joining us now with the latest. Manu, there are still a lot of moving parts about how this will be put together, who will vote on the rule, et cetera, et cetera. Give us the state of play.
Yeah, this is a key moment here in the House over this furious battle to fund the Ukraine, give it aid that it's saying it desperately needs at this critical moment. Republicans have been badly divided for months, and now the Speaker of the House indicating he's prepared to move forward with a package that includes aid to Ukraine. They're planning to vote on separate bills in the House on Friday, splitting up these aid packages between Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan, and some other measures as well, including a potential ban on TikTok. But after they vote on them separately, they'll be tied together. We expect them to be tied together as one big bill that will go back to the United States Senate. And that is causing furious anger among the right wing of his party, because a lot of Republicans on that right flank have said there should be absolutely no more money spent for Ukraine, and are also demanding new border security measures to be part of any deal. And that is not expected to be part of this underlying bill that, if it eventually passes the House, if it does get the votes. And I spent the morning talking to a lot of those members on the far right, and many of them are indicating that they may support an effort to oust Mike Johnson from his job. Is the Speaker just out of his element here?
No, I just think the Speaker needs to get home and listen to our base.
I'm not very pleased with.
Would you support a motion to vacate?
Yeah, that's hypothetical. I think that's, frankly, it's more bluster than real.
How disappointed are you with the Speaker?
Very. I mean, I'm well past the point of giving grace here.
I haven't made up my mind yet, but I'm not happy about this rule, and he's pushing us to the brink here.
And the leader of this effort, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I just caught up with her in the hallways of the Capitol, and I asked her if she's planning to move forward to call for this vote, which any member can do, to seek the Speaker's ouster. Is your support for your motion to vacate growing?
It is growing. I think some people are becoming more angry than I am. So we'll see what happens today. I don't know how much longer our members are going to tolerate the Republican Speaker that we elected to pass our agenda in the House. We don't know. I don't know how long people are going to tolerate this, because he's doing nothing but serving the Democrats.
Now, the Republicans are badly divided over this, as I mentioned. There are a number of Republicans who are coming to the Speaker's defense, who do support more aid to Ukraine, but expect this vote, when it happens, to show potentially a minority of Republicans that could happen who actually support this, because Johnson will have to rely on Democratic support to get this over the finish line. And that is clearly his calculus here. And also, which could be part of it, will Democrats come to his aid to save him from that threat of being ousted from the speakership? Much different than the historic and unprecedented ouster of Kevin McCarthy last fall, when Democrats all voted with 8 Republicans to oust him from the speakership. This time, many Democrats are indicating that they may save Speaker Johnson, in large part because of his decision to move ahead with aid to Ukraine.
Yeah, all the action on Capitol Hill just underscores today the importance and the significance of the issue of immigration and just how divisive it's been. Manu Raju, thank you so much for the update.
Here in the studio is New Jersey Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Anna.
React to what you just heard from your fellow congresspeople across the aisle: abject surrender. You know how narrow the Republican majority is. It's going to mean that Democrats are going to have to help pass this support for Israel, the support for Ukraine, and beyond. Do you think it's going to happen?
Well, a lot of this is more of the same, right? This is the same group of people that no matter what happens, they throw bombs, right? The same foreign extremists. And it's why Democrats and Republicans, a group, have had to work together consistently to actually legislate, right? To keep the government open, to prevent a debt ceiling problem over and over again. That's what we've been focused on. And right now, we know that we have several crises going on in the world that we've got to deal with, right? And the easiest thing would be to take the bill that the Senate sent us with 70 votes and put it on the floor and pass it. You have Democrats and Republicans coming together to make sure there's resources for Ukraine, for Israel, humanitarian aid, Taiwan.
But you saw
right?
why
Get this
the
done.
speaker's not doing it.
Right, but he keeps trying all these other machinations, and guess what? The bomb throwers keep throwing bombs. No matter what he tries to give them, you're back in the same place.
So will these bills, I know we haven't seen them yet, but assuming we will soon, actually pass this Saturday, which is the current plan?
Well, so the first thing is you got to see them. And if they are, I'll say this, if they are consistent in the language that the Senate sent over with 70 votes, Democrats and Republicans, but they're broken up in pieces, of course I could see that actually passing. You could see an overwhelming number of Democrats and Republicans coming together to get it done. The thing I worry about between now and then is it's open to amendments. So what amendments will some of the folks you just saw try to add to the bills? Will they pass? Because if you put a poison pill in, right, the whole thing blows up. And that's what we're all worried about.
I want you to listen to what some of your fellow Democrats have said about the increasingly likely prospect that Republicans will try to oust Mike Johnson from the Speaker's chair.
I will vote to keep Johnson as Speaker. Just do your job and put it on the floor, and let's get this thing done already.
I think it's unlikely I would support vacating it.
If Marjorie Taylor Greene, someone who wants states to secede from the Union, brings up a motion to vacate, I will not support her doing that under any circumstance. Democrats don't even let her rename post offices. I'm not going to let her make a motion to vacate.
Will you join them? Will you effectively side with, it looks like the majority of Republicans, and support Mike Johnson to stay in the Speaker's chair?
Right now, I'm not making that commitment until I think it's putting the cart before the horse. I got to see how this actually plays out. Does it get done? Does he do the right thing? Part of my frustration now is we've waited 2 months. He's had this Senate bill. He could be helping Ukraine. He could be helping get humanitarian aid and help Israel, which is critically important, especially after Iran's attack this weekend. We know that Ukraine is literally outgunned 5-1. Right? They don't have defensive measures. They're being depleted. So we have a huge crisis going on multiple fronts, plus in Taiwan, a huge challenge from our number one adversary,
So you're not giving
China.
him your support for free?
I want to actually see, does something get done here? He could have brought this to the floor. Will this proposal work that he's trying? Like, if he did it the right way, I guarantee you'd have a lot of people supporting him. The question is, will he get this done? And then you can ask me that question.
Okay, but you're obviously open to it.
I want to see what happens. I don't put the cart before the horse.
Okay. You yesterday were a co-sponsor of a resolution that passed that condemned the chant "From the River to the Sea" as blatantly anti-Semitic. It passed overwhelmingly in the House of Representatives. Today, there are representatives from Columbia University, other administrators on Capitol Hill. They're being asked questions about what they view as anti-Semitic. I want you to listen to some of what's happening.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Columbia's code of conduct? Mr. Greenwald.
Yes, it does.
Ms. Shipman.
Yes, it does.
Dr. Shafiq.
Yes, it does.
And Professor Shizer.
Yes, it does.
Your reaction?
Well, that's obviously, given that I helped author that resolution, I thought that calling for the destruction of Israel from the river to the sea and the elimination of the Jewish people is anti-Semitic. I think there's never been a question about that. And yesterday, Congress overwhelmingly affirmed it. And now you see today, the Columbia University, all these representatives from Columbia also said this is a violation of our code of conduct and unacceptable.
It's quite different from a few months ago when it was
Yes, when
hard
people
for
were
them.
equivocating and unsure whether or not it was. And I thought that was outrageous then, and I'm glad they followed up today.
We are about to enter commencement season. You saw what happened at USC, that the valedictorian was asked not to speak. They said it was security concerns. She did post allegedly some statements on her social media page talking about the abolition of Israel. Just quickly, are you concerned about these kinds of speeches that we're going to see over and over?
Yeah, I'm not close enough. I haven't spoken to I put a call in to the university to find out more details and obviously to understand more about the security issues, because that's always my number one concern. But listen, I think we're entering a time where we have to make it clear that calls for genocide and the elimination of people, by the way, if it's Islamophobia, if it's anti-Semitism, which numbers have spiked off the chart, right, in my home state of New Jersey, huge problem, like one of the largest problems in the country right now. We've got to make sure we come together again. We've got to tamp this down, and we've got to focus on what brings us together, not on all this hatred.
Congressman, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.